Hello my beautiful friend and welcome back to another video. So today we have one of my favorite topics. It's Capcom. And yeah, well, let's just say just a couple of minutes. Oh no, it's already about an hour old. A video by Bellular News. If you know me, I like Bellular and his videos. I reacted to him a couple of times, and with this one I'm also going to, as always, link it in the description box below. And as you can see, I already pre-liked it. I haven't watched it. I just came home basically from work. So let's dive in and see what he has to say about Capcom. Because players had enough, Monster Hunter Wilds died in 1 month. And I have something to say about my Monster Hunter Wilds experience at the end.
Let today's story be a cautionary tale. A company that absolutely screwed over their most hardcore fans to please the market has now been kind of dumped and punished by the market. Capcom, they will not be loyal to you. Okay, let's get into the story. No one's particularly happy about Monster Hunter Wilds right now. On Steam, the recent user reviews are 17% positive.
It went up. How did that happen? But yeah, no one. Okay, of course, there are people that are happy with Monster Hunter Wilds. Again, I'm going to talk about my personal experience with it at the end, but Capcom isn't happy. The majority of, as you can see, the fan base is not happy, and yeah.
Devs are clearly frustrated enough to move.
As previously announced, we plan to release the version 1.021 update on Wednesday, August 13. This update will include expanded endgame content, balance adjustments for weapons, and other adjustments and improvements. Okay.
Entire content updates forward by a month, and now even the people Capcom wanted to please the most have turned on them. That's because the stock market, investors, and shareholders.
The company's share price was sitting at 4,300 yen at the end of Wednesday, but when the market opened today, the price dropped 9.5%, hitting a low point of 3,900 yen. Damn.
Holders are no longer that happy because after releasing Monster Hunter Wilds with weaker optimization in PC, Capcom are reaping the rewards of their sales cratering by 95%.
Holy
Pretty
damn.
big number. Now,
we talked about
gamer,
that one
you're
earlier.
a gamer, and you know what
2
we're
weeks
like.
ago or
So,
something like
my
that.
fellow gamers, come to the front of the class. It's time for a lesson. Part of this is how I went from awful sleep to fantastic sleep.
Oh,
now
and
today's
yeah,
sponsor,
we're still gonna
Manta
watch
Sleep,
that
has
one.
been a huge help in that. So what Manta does is actually really simple. They make the best
I've
sleep
seen
mask
these
that there
masks.
is, and that's important because most sleep masks absolutely suck. I just could not find a comfortable one until I came across Manta last
for me
winter.
personally,
and
I
that's
don't
really
need
when I started
sleep
trying to take
masks.
sleep
When I
way
fall
more
asleep,
seriously in my life. I mean, as
basically
an
in a
MMO gamer,
coma.
I've often not been particularly
I
good
have
for my body in that regard.
everyone
And it's
else
hard to describe
around
just how
me
much better life
that
is without constant
triggers
onset insomnia.
my
And now I've even got the sleep
awakeness
scores to prove
state.
it.
Let's
and
just
Manta
say
is
it
a
like this.
huge part
It's
of my kit. So the
more
way it works, right,
akin
is you
to
get
a
the core
zombie
Manta sleep
state
mask.
early
It's
in the
absolutely
morning.
terrific. But what sets them apart is
why is
customization.
a
You get
Bluetooth
cooling
sleep
pads,
mask?
weighted pads, and even a Bluetooth mask.
Oh.
Now combine that with
Why?
white noise,
I
maybe
mean,
some
I know
rain,
why,
a spooky
but still.
story, or my go-to podcast, The Rest is History, and you'll find you not only drift off, but you actually just
Okay,
stay asleep.
interesting.
You build a stronger
But yeah,
circadian
still,
rhythm,
I
and
don't
that
need
just
that
helps
one.
you
I have a
basically
night
enjoy
light for
life more
my
and stay on
cat.
track. Manda's kit is
As
absolutely
her
fantastic,
eyesight is
and you'll
getting
get 10% off
worse
using my link
over the
and code
years
Bellular News.
because she's
477,000.
getting old now, and sometimes
that is
she.
the number that VGC spot.
Wait, he already talks about the game again. Her eyesight is getting worse as she's old, and I want her to jump up everything that I've built so she can come to bed because she's sleeping beside my head on her own pillow. Yes, she's a queen, I know, but the worse her eyesight gets, the more she's falling into the risk of falling down the construction that I made for her. So yeah, there is a nightlight, proof that I don't need the mask.
477,000. That is the number that VGC spotted in Capcom's first quarterly investor report. Oh, it's a good number, because it's the number of copies of Monster Hunter Wilds.
I mean, it's still a good
sold.
number, but not for this game and for the
million.
company.
But you need to compare that to the slightly over 10 million from the first month. It is a
10
5%
million.
increase, and it's one that Capcom themselves say is, quote, soft. Which does seem kind of apt, and VGC notes something else here. Even the previous title, Monster Hunter Rise,
we saw this
sold
one.
389,000 copies.
With no
during the
surprise
same
that
period.
Resident Evil
Comparing the
3 is
release
not
dates,
on
in
there.
no way should things look like that. Now, we've been talking about this since the launch, right?
Yep.
There were widespread complaints across all platforms,
It's
especially in PC. And those
100%.
complaints do actually filter through to potential buyers, especially because PC is heavily concentrated in Steam,
Holy
and
crap.
those user scores have been read for a long time. But before we dive into why these numbers crashed, we need to talk about how the people Capcom chose to pursue did not save them in the end. Before this game launched, we flagged something absolutely crucial. Capcom released Monster Hunter Wilds to plug an incredible gap in their balance sheet, and it's kind of amazing.
Yep.
What they basically did was a massive gamble that required humongous sales numbers, but not impossible sales numbers for a series as popular as Monster Hunter. It was a risky gamble, but it is one that initially paid off. And by paid off, I don't just mean the sales. The reward after the financial year was literally the highest stock price that Capcom has
Holy
ever
damn,
had.
I didn't
Now,
see
just
that
so you
one.
understand this, they basically had been posting like 10% growth a year, right? And they'd be doing this for a decade. And essentially, to not break the
Graph
streak,
go
they
up
needed
is
to make
good.
a shitload of money really quickly. And that is basically why Monster Hunter on PC was simultaneous shipped, obviously to the great detriment of the game. So that was really good, happy stock market. But of course, the consequence of this was really bad long tail sales. And after Capcom reported those sales, their stock fell nearly 10%. Now, it still is among their highest figures ever, but it's a noticeable drop. Basically, the line did not go up. And what I like here is that the company has actually been appropriately punished. I mean, we can be very critical of the market and a lot of the short-termist incentives. This is an example, though, where the short-term thing they did has obviously been bad for shareholder value.
Yep,
'Cause if
I
you care
hate
about shareholder
short-term
value,
things.
You probably want lots of copies of Monster Hunter to sell for a long time. But no, Capcom had to go and cock it all up. Now, they had spent
the
the last
food
10 years
porn in
playing
this
it
game.
incredibly safe, posting consistent, constant growth, stable development platforms, stable tech, lots of really good releases, and developers actually being able to deliver in franchises both big and small. And they were rewarded with incredible sales growth and a nice, solidly increasing stock price. And they absolutely did benefit from Monster Hunter Wild getting out the door with absolutely shit PC optimization. But it does seem that it was not in the long-term benefit. So let's get to the sales figures. Sales normally drop over launch. That's a guaranteed thing, but to drop this much, this fast, especially for this franchise, it is worth interrogating. And I'll start with what's the most obvious answer. It's that maybe Wilds simply hit its total addressable audience at launch. It has a $70 base price, kind of steep, and it only went on sale once, and only at 20% off. So that's a high bar for purchasers who are on the fence. So the total addressable audience at this current price maybe had been capped out. I mean, certainly it's a game you won't be taking a gamble on when better reviewed games exist. Rise and World are actually available on the very same platforms with far more content. So with no new incentive at that price and no societal pressure from public enjoyment, nothing really moves the needle on Capcom's sales figures yet. Though admittedly, Capcom will have Monster Hunter Stories 3 and Resident Evil.
I'm interested for that one.
Now those will pad out their balance sheet to be a little bit more healthy this year. With those new releases, they won't be in a position of like needing just for their catalog sales to prop the business up. But what is notable is that right after this call, Capcom released the $75 7-disc soundtrack as DLC in Steam.
What?
Maybe that will raise some revenue. I kind of doubt it. But compared to the rest of the catalog, it is especially harsh. Devil May Cry 5 sold 1.78 million.
Wait. I have to look this up on Steam now for myself. Where is it? It's 73 euros in Germany. Holy crap. It's 7 discs. Okay, yeah, he already said that. How many tracks are there? Does it say? No. Holy shit. Wait, 17, 19, 18, 18, 17, 18, 19. There are a lot of tracks there, but I don't know. Oh, Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise on discount again. Oh, they have to save face. It's been on discount a whole lot of times right now, because both of the games were on discount. This is the third time in a couple of months that they have been on discount. It's basically once a month they've been on just 10 euros. But yeah, again, there's no Resident Evil 3 there. That's hilarious. And it's the total truth. Oh my god. Oh, yeah, let's
Village
continue.
and 4 both outsold Wilds at 923,000 and 706,000 respectively, and even Street Fighter 6 sold 538,000 units, the latter almost certainly being thanks to the Switch 2 launch. For the Resident Evil
Love
increase,
Street
we
Fighter.
could maybe think that's Requiem's reveal getting people hyped again, but then there's Devil May Cry's outsized impact, which is pretty much being put entirely on the new Netflix animated series being a hit and getting 5.3
Oh,
million
the Netflix
viewers.
series.
Again, regardless of whether existing series fans enjoyed it, clearly a shitload of people saw Devil May Cry and ended up buying this game. And Monster Hunter already got its movie.
Definitely.
The less we say about that, the better, I would say. Not least because the bigger story here is about library availability and accompanying price drops during sales, because those things are key to drawing in new audiences. But you also get new audiences need positive sentiment towards your games. Because despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, people aren't that stupid. Based on Capcom reporting that over 50% of their American sales were on PC, well, we know how important PC is to Capcom's Monster Hunter Wild sales. So, What do you do then when your review score is threatening to drop below 50% lifetime, and when your overwhelmingly negative reviews are sitting at a lovely 86% negative? Well, if you're Capcom looking at this, you're going to have to try some sort of unconventional plan, because technical fixes take time. And the good news is, we actually have got some confirmation of what those plans are. Game director Yuya Tokuda posted this message to players, and in it, he apologizes for the time that improvements are taking, but more importantly, he did confirm some major changes. So, they're moving features from late September to early August. They're hoping that will placate people. That means 9-star monsters for HR 100 plus players, it means new appraised talismans with random weapon skills, and it means balance changes being expanded from 5 weapons to 11 weapon types, and those are all upward adjustments. He also admitted something kind of critical. The Title Update 2's downward adjustments were way too far. Basically, they tried to balance the game better, but they just ended up making certain playstyles that people liked less viable. So now they're reversing course for a bunch of weapon types. But if you want a sign of just how hurriedly this planning is, well, the August 13th patch date kind of does confirm it. It's actually so early that Tokuda even apologized that support hunter adjustments wouldn't be ready in time. So they're clearly rushing content out to address player anger. I mean, why else do you pull features forward this much, even though doing so absolutely does risk the quality of your delivery? Now, as for PC optimization, he acknowledged the elephant in the room. So they've reduced anti-cheat processing load by 90%, but real CPU load reduction won't actually come until the 4th title update this winter, which is months away. That's absolutely going to sting. And obviously there's lots of risk here. If these systems that are pulled forward don't land with people or introduce bugs, then Capcom will have rushed content for no huge benefit. But at least we're seeing some open communication here, and it might be paying sort of dividends. I mean, whenever we started doing this video, it was 16% recent reviews. Now it's 23%, so yeah, you know, only up from here. But there's one thing Capcom really does want to go up, maybe even more. That's revenue.
25% right now.
How are you going to get more revenue when this is really a game that people should not be buying for quite some time? The answer, my friends, is very simple. It's what every game does. Boobs. Okay, no. Abs,
he's absolutely right.
People like shown off by digital swimwear. Yeah, basically, they're pulling a Marvel Rivals. If you need your numbers to go up, then just sell people swimwear. for their characters, because those always sell. Now, admittedly, this one is paired with 3 weeks of free in-game activities and rewards, which is pretty good.
Oh, how we call them
well
my friend
before any
group,
chaos began,
Opanskis,
but it will
if they're
likely sell
big.
well regardless.
Panskis
And I guess
if
it makes
they're
one thing pretty damn
regular
clear. If
size.
you are an aspiring game developer, simply just make money by selling swimwear in your game. It works every time, apparently. With all this going on, people are kind of
Alma,
worried
best
that
girl.
they'll just like forget about the game and move on to the next thing, because basically it's FUBAR, there's no point. Well, we actually know Capcom are not giving up in this game. They're being very specific and very open that they know PC players are not happy.
Yep.
But of course, knowing and then being able to do something about it, those are 2 different things. And while the development team is trying to get the game running acceptably in PC, they also need to address the gameplay complaints, which span every game version. And then overarching all of that, there's Capcom's demand for the game to make as much money as it can as a product. But the real question is how much work Capcom will need to do before
I have 40.
then. How do they convince players that the expansion is coming for a base game that is changed, that is actually better? And in a world where a performance as bad as this one makes all of us look to the other skeletons in the closet, like some of the silly monetization they do, or as an example, Dragon's Dogma 2 being broken for way longer than it should have, guess you do just wonder, is the camel's back broken? Is that why there are less sales?
Drops sharply. Damn.
In a good world, the camel's back maybe should be broken. There probably should be real punishment over such a big letdown. But here's the thing. Call of Duty still sells. It sells massively. And I have a slight little suspicion that Andrew Wilson's Mad Lads will probably not do a Wild Hearts 2 to try and take this series out. Because it's EA, and I think they're basically terrified of everything by now. So to sum the whole story up in one line, hey...
Just ends. Good video. Good video. Again, I love Bellular's videos. He really sums up everything very well. And I'm really happy with the video. I agree with basically everything here. My problem with Monster Hunter Wilds right now is I basically can't play it. It worked in the beginning when I bought it and played it, but I wasn't able to play the Flame Festival, so I missed out on every collectible there, which sucks, and now my enjoyment of the game is basically, why should I care? Because at this point I also have the feeling that I've basically seen everything. I was in every biome, I've seen the majority of the monsters, and I don't know if this is a Monster Hunter problem or if this is a me problem. It's probably a me problem here. That I don't know, it kind of feels weird. Also, the whole DLC and microtransaction thing, it sours the pot. It's supposed to be something sweet and savory, but then comes the lemon. And it makes everything worse for me, because there are so many awesome things, and then you have to buy it. I admit there are also many great things inside the game, yes, but the point stands, it's just too many DLCs and microtransactions. It's 104 DLCs right now. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for free. And let's take out the soundtrack for 72 euros. Then it's 99 DLCs, paid DLCs. It's 350 euros. It's 352, but let's just say 350. Take 70 away. It's about 280 euros just for the paid DLCs. Without the soundtrack. This is, and I mean that as a pun as well, it's wild. This is just way too much. There are so many things. I know there are pendants, there are gestures, there are outfits for Gemma, Sacred Decoration, Alma, and so on. But yeah, it sours the pot so much. Holy damn. Let's just wait and see. I still want to talk about the game because ultimately I'm kinda happy with it, despite running into problems now as well, and that the story sucks. The story is, you know me by now. If you're new here, hi and welcome, but story for me is the thing that makes the game better or worse. If the story is fantastic, mediocre gameplay is fine for me. If the story is bad, the gameplay has to be peak. Otherwise, it's just going to be a dumpster fire for myself. And Monster Hunter Wilds is now, it's balancing itself out. It's so weird to me to have this. The one thing for me personally Capcom can do to appease people is not to make more DLC, lower the price permanently. This will at least get people to buy the game and try it. Also, patch the benchmark. The benchmark runs worse than the game itself. People are going to try the benchmark, see, oh, this runs like ass, and just not going to give into, to buy the game and then play it. Because the benchmark might say, no, your PC sucks, even though it runs better. But until then, we have 6 months to go for Resident Evil Requiem. I really, really hope that they will learn. I'm still a little bit positive about the games that are coming next year. Because, again, I will say this again and again, because I like Capcom. This is not a big secret. I like their games. I love Street Fighter, I love Resident Evil, I love Devil May Cry, I love Onimusha, Okami, and the majority of the games they brought into life and are bringing back to life. Good Evanescence song. The thing here is that the dev teams are talking to each other in between games. We talked about that with Resident Evil Requiem when they took the expertise the Pragmata team had and brought it into Resident Evil Requiem. I love that. I want more stories of this. I want to know that the dev teams are sharing their experiences about the RE engine because, and again, I like that Capcom is using an in-house engine. It has its problems with open world games. I'm not denying that. There is no excuse for that. That those games are run like ass. Single player games that are story focused, Resident Evil 7 and 8, Resident Evil 2, 3 to an extent, and 4, they run well up to amazing. These games are made with this engine in mind. Let's just wait and see what will happen. I'm very excited for Resident Evil Requiem. I'm very excited for Pragmata and Onimusha. Oh my god, my excitement for Resident Evil 9 and Onimusha, especially after the Resident Evil leak, the one we already talked about a couple of days ago, and that Onimusha is not going to be a Souls-like, it's just going to be straight Onimusha, like the ones from back in the day, 1, 2, and 3. It's going to kick ass. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited for that. Let's just hope that Capcom will pull their heads out of their own butts and deliver. I'm just hoping here. But yeah, again, great video by Bellular. You will find it in the description box down below. Go give him a like and subscribe. And If you're new here, please, for me as well, because all the things that make the dings. Why? Because that way we can build a bigger community and talk more video game news every day. And yeah, please leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below. I'm keen to know what you have to say. Have a great day, my friend. Stay fantastic, stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, bye, bye.